Zimbabwe's currency devaluation is forcing the government to cut spending on some budget items. The country's treasury has asked government departments to prioritize their spending commitments for the rest of the year. Let's bring in Bloomberg's Ondiro Oganga, who joins us now from Kigali in Rwanda. Ondiro, just give us a little bit more color on what to expect into this upcoming budget, given some of the pressures and the spending pressures that Zimbabwe are facing right now.
Absolutely, Jumana. So this is a government that this time around, they have to mobilize resources because, like you mentioned, they have crucial yet unavoidable expenditure. They have the 2024 bonus awards coming up, and this goes to civil servants at the end of every year to thank them for their service to the nation. And because of this, they take home double what their monthly salary always is. Then you have food importation. Zimbabwe is a country that is currently grappling or has grappled with drought, and its effect is being felt until today. So a lot of money needs to go into buying food to ensure that there's no deficit in between as they wait for the next agricultural cycle. There's also a lot of money needed to go and buy agricultural input and supplies to ensure that they're ready for the next planting season. There will also be budget cuts, and there's some facets of government that will have to bootstrap. They'll be looking to cut foreign trips because this attracts a lot of per diem and also travel expenses. There's also local workshops that go out of town and attract more expenses to these ministries. And they'll also be looking to reduce fuel coupons by about 50% moving forward. And this budget is really interesting. It's being presented at the end of the month, yet the bids that the Ministry of Finance has received is about 700 billion ZiG, which is above the ceiling of about 145 billion ZiG. And this is being attributed to devaluation of their currency and also high inflation.
Ondiro, what's interesting is our colleagues had an interview with the Zimbabwe finance minister last week, and he sort of painted this more resilient and upbeat picture for the Zimbabwean economy than the data would suggest, saying that the economy is resilient despite the drought. They're hoping to work on this debt restructuring with a meeting coming up in the next couple of days. How would you say the country has been absorbing some of the recent economic shocks and squared up with the commentary that we got from the finance minister? It's a bag of mixed goods, Jumana, because on one hand, you have their currency, which was only launched in April. And when it was launched, it looked like it was really going to endure the test of time. It was backed by gold, and it has lost nearly half of its value. The central bank was forced to devalue it by 43% because there was a supply and demand mismatch in terms of dollar demand. And because of this, we saw the ZiG was trading in the parallel market twice what it was trading in the official market. Because of this, it funded inflation to about 7.2% from 5.8%, which is a really big jump. This prompted the central bank to hike rates from 20% to 35% and also devalue their currency. In terms of resilience, here's a point, because this year, despite Zimbabwe having experienced the worst drought in about 40 years, the economy is projected to grow at about 2% in comparison to 2019, where they dropped to negative 7%. And the government made a couple of decisions. They decided to open the borders, allow anyone to import food who can afford. The only problem is cost.